Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're doing this very glowy summer look. Every year before summer starts, I like to do a look like this to really get inspired and hopefully inspire you to recreate something like this as well. What's different about this year's video is I decided to pull out a lot of my luxury products to create this look. So it was really fun to play around with those very expensive but very fun products. Speaking of being summer ready, I'm out of hibernation mode and ready to be smooth body hair wise again. So I wanted to share with you some of my favorite razors who are also the sponsor of this portion of today's video. The brand is Billie Razors and I'll be sharing with you their starter kit today. Inside of this starter kit, you of course get your razor. I picked out this shade, which I thought was just so summery and fun and actually really matches the look that we have going on today. And then you also get this to stick onto your shower, which is magnetic. So it keeps your razor dry and clean, which is very important. Then you also get an extra razor, which is super easy to change. All you have to do is push the button at the top here to replace your razors. I've tried so many different razors, like an endless amount really. And what I really enjoy about these ones from Billie, I did not mean for that to rhyme, but it ended up happening, is that they have a lot of space in between the blades. So it prevents clogging, so you don't have to like keep rinsing it super frequently when you are shaving. So it makes it really easy to shave on the go. It has this nice barrier around it, so it's very smooth. It never snags on my skin. I have super sensitive skin, so again, a lot of razors are just a little too aggressive for me, but this one is super sharp and gives you a very clean, close, and smooth shave. So you're not gonna have as much irritation, and these are just great. I'm back into shaving again. I need a good razor, and these ones I've been loving. These are also affordably priced razors. Thankfully, I don't think anyone wants to spend crazy amounts of money just on a razor. Billie also offers free shipping, so you can get the starter kit today with free shipping. And once you have the razor, if you also need to buy some replacements, you'll also get free shipping on those. Yay. I've also been testing out a couple of their products, their shaving cream, their body wash, and I really love them so far. They have amazing scents, and a good, well-designed razor is such a staple moving into the warmer months. Also, don't forget to grab your Billie starter kit. I will have all the links in the description below. Truly a great razor, check them out. First things first, we definitely need a glowy base. I'm going to start by mixing two products I have here. First is the Pi Skincare The Impossible Glow. This is just a skincare based sort of golden illuminizer. Then I also have the Pi Rosehip Oil. We're gonna mix these up and apply them to our face. I didn't do moisturizer yet, so these will be sort of our moisturizing product. If you prefer something water-based, the Say Beauty Super Glowy Gel is a great one. They have a bronze shade as well, or just whatever glowy product you like that works for your skin. I'm actually not going to mix this with the oil because it's not mixing. I'm guessing because this is water-based. So FYI, do not use this with the oil. It will not work, but let me grab a moisturizer and we'll mix it with that. So for the moisturizer, I grabbed my Peach and Lily Matcha Pudding Antioxidant Cream, one of my favorites at the moment. And let's try this again. That worked so much better, and I'm gonna use this Artis, I forget the name of this one, but it's sort of just like their classic face brush, and I'm gonna use this to apply it. I just feel like this does a great job at applying pigment really evenly. You can of course use your hands as well, but then you probably want to wash your hands after because they get all bronzy. Feels really beautiful and lightweight on the skin. Good lightweight bronzy option. And to add a little bit more moisture and even more glow, because we're going super glowy today, I'm gonna use my Auric. This is the Glow Lust Radiant Luminizer. You could also use the Charlotte Tilbury Luminizer. The difference between the two is this one is more moisturizing, so if you have drier skin or if you want more moisture, I would opt for this one. I didn't love this at first, but it's kind of grown on me. And this one, I'm just gonna focus more on the high points of my face since it is a little bit lighter. And if you wanted to, you could actually probably just use this as your moisturizer. It's really beautiful. I'm just gonna use that same brush to blend it in, and it helps to even your skin tone so you can use less foundation. Now that our skin is prepped and ready, I'm going to use my Kjaer Weis. This is the, I think it's just called their foundation, the liquid one. This is in the shade Feathery, which is M210, which should be a pretty good match. I'm obviously self-tanned at the moment. This one you do have to shake a lot. I really dislike this packaging, like the dropper doesn't really work. so I usually just pour it out on my hand. But this has such a beautiful, lightweight, like gel-like consistency. It's one of the most skin-like foundations I've ever tried, and it's just so beautiful for summer because it really does look like skin. I'm actually just gonna blend this with the same brush, so all those glowy products will mix in with the foundation too, and this helps to give this foundation more coverage because with a sponge, the sponge really soaks up a lot of it, but this way you get a little bit more coverage. It's just so beautiful. And I usually don't prefer my foundation to have any scent, but this has such a beautiful, like natural smelling scent. I don't know how to describe it, but it's really good. I went ahead and built up another layer because I do prefer more medium coverage. If you're curious about really good summer foundations, I did post a video last year about all my favorite heat-proof foundations. I will link it in the info card, but I'm going to do bronzer before we do any concealer because we're using a lot of cream, liquidy based products today. So I decided to pull out the Chantecaille Radiance Gel Bronzer to use as our bronzer today. I really love using just like very liquidy cream based products together because they all just sink into the skin, they meld beautifully and really help to give you that like glowy skin-like beachy vacation look. I don't like to apply this product directly to my face, so I take a small little blending brush. This is a MOTD Supermodel Sculpt brush. It has about a medium density, so it's not super dense, but still a little bit. And I just stipple it into the brush until I feel like I have a good amount. And then I start at the very tops of my cheekbones. This is a really buildable product, but it still has pigment to it, so I like to be careful with it. But you can tell it gives you like a really, really natural looking sculpt. I think cream and liquid bronzers are just like on a different level if you want natural looking makeup. Sometimes powders just can look so heavy, but especially if you're doing this under powder, it's unclockable. And then I always like to have my foundation brush on hand to blend in any of the bronzer with the extra foundation on this brush to make it look ultra natural. If you self-tan and your scalp is a lot lighter than usually your face or your body or the foundation that you're putting on, my trick is to try to minimize the amount of product that you have there. You do want your foundation to go right up to your hairline, obviously, or else you'll be able to tell. But the trick is to not use too much because when you do, then it creates even more of like a drastic difference and it kind of looks like you have this mask on. So usually I'll start the foundation on my forehead in the middle and then blend it out. And same with the bronzer, I don't put it directly up here. I'll start it a little bit lower. And then you could also just use like whatever's left on your foundation brush and then just push it up into the hairline, but the key is to not use too much product. I feel like I could use a little bit more definition, so I'm gonna use my Persona. This is the Dune Bronze Stick, which has a little bit of a cooler undertone than the Chantecaille bronzer. So this, I'm just gonna use a tiny little bit at the very backs of my cheekbones, and then blend that in an upwards motion in with our other bronzer. It just has a little bit more pigment. I like to use it more precisely. For concealer, I really love this one from Thrive. It's the Buildable Blur HD Creaseless Concealer. This is very thin. You can barely feel it on your skin. It does not crease and it doesn't feel heavy, so it's one of those really great warmer weather products. And this one is the shade Lite. And this formula I think is just a great one to blend out with your fingers or a sponge or a brush really. It's a super easy formula. Still not setting anything yet, and moving on to blush, I have the Westman Atelier. This is the Baby Cheeks blush stick in the shade Coquette, which is really pretty. I would say it's a neutral pink. Kind of just goes with any look, and these are very glowy. Yeah, I'm gonna apply this directly on my skin. I always start at the tops of my cheekbones. And taking a similar dome brush from earlier, this is the ColourPop F20. And blending this in a stippling motion, and I also keep it in an upward motion so it doesn't get dragged down too far. The shade is so pretty, like it just gives you such a natural flush. And if you wanted to get the sort of sunburn look, you can put a little bit on your nose. I usually don't, but that's your thing. It is really cute. And then I also have the Westman Atelier Lit Up Highlight Stick. This one's in the shade Nectar, which is like a peachy pink. I'm not sure if you'll really be able to see it, so I'm just going to apply it also just directly onto my face. And I'm just gonna use the same blush brush since it's all going in the similar place anyway. And this is just gonna help with that glow, and I really like to bring it up here. It just gives you this like super glazed look. And I am going to set my under eyes and the sides of my nose, and I might do a little bit of powder after that, but I'm going to be very minimal to keep with this glowy look. But I do have normal to oily skin, so I need some powder, at least a little bit. So I did some light baking with a lighter powder. You can see just where I put it. I avoided the outer edge just to keep that glow sort of unpowdered, or else it might get cakey. But I did do the sides of my nose, right under my eyes, and a little bit in my smile lines, and then I set lightly on my chin and my forehead with the same powder. So it should be good to go. I went ahead and did my brows off camera, and while my powder is still baking, let's move on to eyeshadow. I'm gonna do a very light eye today because we did like so much focus on the skin. So I'm gonna start with this Victoria Beckham. This is one of their eye quads in the shade Tweed. I'm just taking this light brown, which is very warm, and it has a little bit of shimmer in it, not too much. And I'm just using this as a transition shade, I guess you could say. Big fluffy brush. And the shade almost looks like a bronzer contour, so it ties in really well, sort of rest of the bronziness we got going on. And I also have this new trio from Jane Iredale. This is their Pure Press eyeshadow. They just released a bunch of new eyeshadows and blushes, and this is the shade Cognac, which is a very neutral brown trio. I'm gonna take the middle shade on a smaller brush. I'm just defining my crease a tiny bit more. So far I think the formulas are really nice and blendable. Going back to the Victoria Beckham shade, I'm gonna use the light brown, a little bit on my lower lash line. That's all I'm gonna do for my crease shade to really brighten up the inner corner. I'm gonna use this NYX. This is just a matte white shade called Whipped Cream, which I really like. As you can tell, I'm hitting pan. I always find with palettes, there's never a shade light enough to actually highlight for me, especially when I don't have a tan on. That's why I purchased this. It's really nice if you want like an ultra bright highlight. For my lid, I pulled out the Victoria Beckham Lid Luster in the shade Blonde, which is a very pretty white gold shade. This is a pressed pigment, so I like to use my finger with this, and I'm just pressing it on, starting with the center of my lid. These are so pretty. I definitely want to get more shades. I love just like a very simple eye, but a super glittery lid. Looks so pretty. Going back into the Jane Iredale palette, I'm taking the darker brown. I'm not going to do like a full liner. I'm just using a little bit to define my lash line, and I will do a little flick. To add some glow to my eyes, I'm taking this shimmery white liner. You can barely see that. This is from Beauty for Real, and it's called Heaven's Door, which is a gel eyeliner. I'm gonna pop this on my waterline and also a little bit just under my lash line, sort of drawing it on. I went ahead and just did mascara. If you wanted to do like a more nighttime look, lashes would be so gorgeous with this, but I'm keeping it just mascara today. Now for lips, I always want to go for like a really bright summer look where they look like this, but the thing is, a lot of those shades just look very bad on me, so it's kind of hard to find a nice like more summery shade that isn't too crazy. So if you feel like you fit in that category, I do have some recommendations. I would go for something that's a little more muted if bright shades just don't really look that great on you. So I have a couple here from Revlon, the Colorstay Matte Light Crayons. They all have this pretty like warm tone to them, but they're not too bright, but they still give you that sort of beachy look. So I am going to start with a lip liner. I'm just going to use my NYX Nude Beige lip liner. So I have 3 shades here. I have this more brighter orange. We have a mid-tone brown, and then I also have this light, more peachy nude. I think I'm gonna start with the brightest one, and maybe we'll end up mixing a couple others in there. I'm just gonna start by drawing a little bit on, and then I'm gonna use my finger to blend it into my lip liner. It just gives it a bit of a softer look. The shade is actually really pretty. Usually these kinds of shades, if they're too bright, look very weird, make my teeth look super yellow. So check this one out if you feel like you have the same issues. For the middle, I'm going to brighten up a little bit with the lighter peachy shade that I mentioned earlier, just on the center of the lip. I guess it would only be right to finish this off with a gloss, so I'm going to use the Pixi Sweet Nectar Lip Lifts. I love these. Really good drugstore gloss. This is like a pretty peach shade. They're very minty, which I love. Just to put the glow over the top, the iconic London Prep Set Glow Mist that has some shimmer in it. I think will do the job. Here is our finished look. I'm obsessed with it. It's so glowy. It is very shiny, like in a good way, but it feels actually very lightweight on the skin because we worked in very light layers. Love the lip. Everything just tied together really nicely, and it's actually a fairly easy look to do as well. I could totally see myself just rocking this out in the summer. You could totally take more of the shine down if it's not something you're comfortable with, if you have more oily skin. But this was super fun to do. I hope you enjoyed watching it as well. Also, don't forget to check out the sponsor of today's video and grab your starter kit from Billie Razors today to get summer ready. Let me know in the comments below if there's any other types of summer videos or hot weather videos that you're interested in seeing from me. Let me know below, but thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.